James Vanest, a 68-year-old fugitive, was finally unmasked as the killer behind the brutal 1981 murder of 18-year-old Debra Miller in Mansfield, Ohio. Debra, a waitress, was viciously beaten to death with an oven grate in her apartment. At the time, Vanest, her upstairs neighbor, was questioned but never named as a suspect. Fast forward 40 years. In 2021, the case got a fresh look thanks to advancements in DNA technology, and bingo! Vanest's DNA was found on multiple pieces of evidence. When police confronted him, he started acting shifty, trying to justify why his DNA might be at the scene. But it didn't end there. After selling his house and moving to West Virginia, Vanest was arrested on firearms charges. Somehow, he got out on bond and went right back to Ohio. That's when things took a deadly turn. In November 2023, law enforcement cornered him at a hotel. Vanest barricaded himself, opened fire, and injured a SWAT officer before being taken out in the firefight.
News: a decades-long murder cold case has been solved. 43 years ago, police found 18-year-old Debra Miller dead in her Mansfield apartment. It was a brutal killing, and today, her killer was identified as 68-year-old James Vanest.
April 29, 1981, inspectors came around for a routine check of 18-year-old Debra Miller's apartment unit.
The door was ajar to her apartment. One of the persons there that was doing the inspection of the building stepped inside, and it was a very bad scene.
At the time, that was the worst, most brutal homicide I've ever encountered.
Debra appeared to have been murdered with pots, pans, and oven grates. But who did it? It would haunt him and stump detectives for decades. Until 2021, when a detective and DNA analysts reopened the case and identified a DNA profile on multiple pieces of evidence linked to a man named James Vanest.
Mr. Vanest lived above Debra during the night of the homicide. He had been questioned during the initial investigation, but was never identified as a suspect.
In 2021, Detective Terry Butler interviewed Vanest.
Detective Butler felt that Mr. Vanest was trying to create an alibi by justifying his DNA being present in the apartment, even though Detective Butler had never breached that topic.
Vanest admitted he initially lied to investigators. When the detective interviewed him again in June 2024, he asked for a lawyer and didn't answer any questions. A few weeks later, police say he sold his house and moved to West Virginia, where he was arrested on weapons charges for a separate incident. He bonded out of jail there and ultimately headed back to Ohio. And this November, U.S. Marshals attempted to arrest Vanest for federal gun charges at a motel in North Canton. The interaction escalated into a massive SWAT situation. Vanest shot a Canton SWAT officer, and then Vanest was fatally shot himself by law enforcement. Though the new information won't bring Debra Miller back, Mansfield police hope it will bring the community some closure.
And with that, the 43-year mystery was finally solved. The police hope this gives Debra's family some long-awaited closure. But wow, what a ride. This one had it all: DNA twists, a fugitive on the run, and a dramatic showdown.